Good morning, everyone. So today you and I are going to talk about coding lifestyle, or basically a very, very nice comment I got on one of my older videos, and a little bit about my experiences working as a programmer and the idea that this industry has about how a developer should spend their time. So let's get into it. I know this is a little bit vague, but just bear with me. I hopefully will make a bit of sense by the end of this. So the comment was it was one of my old videos where I was talking about the implications of changing or having a very diverse ecosystem when you're basically working with Mocha, Shy and Jest and like different JavaScript testing frameworks. And one of the strengths that I made an argument for about Jest is that Jest is this holistic, like everything is kind of covered in the ecosystem type of deal, while Mocha requires you to know a few other libraries and you need to have a little bit of a diverser knowledge base in order to effectively work with it. This is the case for, I argue that this is very much the case for other solutions such as Angular, which is a more holistic solution, and like React is a little bit more diverse, if you will. Don't kill me if you don't agree. And things such as Node.js versus Java or C#. So, and I said that the strength of having this more holistic thing is that you don't have to learn as many things. Because there are, if you think about it, there are absolutely developers out here in the world who are super passionate about what they do. They're like me, they live and breathe code every single day. They check all the newsletters, and basically all they do is to either basically write code or they're talking about code. Ergo, here I am. And then you have the other developers, the family men and women, the people who actually have a life apart from code. And it can get really stressful for somebody. I know, because I've had this discussion with some of my old senior colleagues who, they've had their fill, like they love their job, but they're not, living and breathing code every single day because they have families and they have other interests, which is absolutely fine. And, to them, it's not so fun that, they have these other like super, I don't know, it's not super or anything like that. It's actually a bit of it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's good to have energetic, hungry developers, but they have to be a little bit mature as well, because otherwise they just add dependencies and change things all the time. And my favorite quote of all time is from my colleague Mark, who would say they mistake change for improvement, or movement for progression, something like that. A truly wise man. And anywho, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. The thing is that just as morning people have an easier time in life than people who stay up late and have a problem getting up early in the morning, in the development world, it's actually very similar. It's because, and there was a colleague, or rather, one of the comments that I got on that video was from a guy who said that he appreciated that I mentioned that, people may have other interests because, people have families and lives, and they want to do other things than just code, which I think is great. Like because you should be able to do these other things. I mean, I don't, even though I code quite a bit, I have other small interests. I study languages, and I hang out with friends and so forth. But the thing is that there is this hype in this industry, and it's almost to the point where it's almost inferred. It's almost like it's this just given thing that you as a software developer live and breathe for your profession. That's all you do. You keep up to date with everything and so forth. And honestly, for the most part, companies will favor people who they believe can do the same job as everybody else, and you have roughly the same experience level, and they're truly passionate about what they do, because from their perspective it makes a lot of sense to have developers who basically pay for themselves, because that's actually what it boils down to. A lot of companies have to spend a lot of money in educating their more conservative and, you know, less hungry developers in certain, like if they want to make a technological change or stuff of that nature. And that costs a lot of money. So it's great if you have developers who do that on their own time, right? Saving money, really good. And you get the added benefit of, or rather that's the perception, it seems, that people who care about, you know, or rather developers who really care about code and are always working or like doing open source projects and so forth, they're going to be more innovative and they're going to provide more value long term than, sorry, damn truck. But that the idea is that they will provide more value long term. And, you know, it is a reasonable thing to think that. But what I don't like about this, what I really despise, is that it's getting to the point where that's not just a perk anymore. It's almost like this is the expected default. It's the same problem I see with application development, where the regular average Joe or Jane thinks that like a standard application is what Google produces or Facebook or so forth. And I like, because if that's the perceived default, then that puts everybody else in a really tough position, because I can tell you right now, if that's your default, then you should know that those applications cost hundreds of millions to develop. That's how much, like, they are so advanced in comparison to like what the reality of things are. It's kind of the same as the beauty ideal. You know, if you have a six pack or like you perky bosoms and nice butt and all that stuff, if you have that, you are not the norm. But because we are spoon-fed with so much media, where like we're basically shown on a daily basis the top 10% of the most beautiful people in the world, and they're the only thing that's on our Twitter, like on our news feeds, then we start believing that that's the default. It's the same thing here. We have all these tech talks and all these contributors in the IT world who are like truly passionate about what they do and so forth, that we kind of forget that, you know, that's not necessarily the norm. And somehow the people sitting on the jobs are getting it into their heads that that's the people these people they want to hire, and it should be the case, and you know that it should be the case. And I think that's kind of weird. Like I'm in this very like a weird problem where like some companies, even my company here, like has suggested that we'll get some pizza and then we will have a work night where we'll sit like into the like basically like a what I used to do with like a local area network party with my friends, and we played Counter-Strike, but for work. And I kind of went, so you want me to work overtime for a slice of pizza? I love my job, but I think I can think of a few more things that I would rather do than work into the late hours of the day, working just and then coming into the office the day after and we'll do even more work, especially for a pizza. And see, this is something that some people think is a problem. Like you may feel guilty about this, but just remember that, you know, this is a job to you. It should be okay that it's just a job. I mean, it's you shouldn't have to feel like you have to be this extraordinary super person who like basically is grateful to be at a place and do work, or that you feel that you have to cut into your own free time just to keep down a job. That's a sickness, in my opinion. There's no other profession that I know, like a regular profession, where that's a requirement. Don't get me wrong, I think it's great if you're passionate. I mean, I'm one of those people as well. But I don't like the idea of that becoming just the norm, because it's not the norm. It's I don't know what to call it. The best thing I could probably describe it as, it's a sickness. It's the same type of sickness we have or warped perception, if you will. A warped perception of reality. And see, reality is that those developers that you have in your company, they have lives. They have families, friends, things that they may want to do apart from coding. And if you are in the situation, and if you ever like start believing that the best thing they know is just, give them a project. It's and I've been there a few times. I've had people who just, seem to think that I'm just grateful to have somebody come up to me and pitch me an app idea, and then they kind of just expect me to do it, and they get really surprised when I say, no, thank you, I won't do that. And they go, why? Because it seems boring. And they go, oh, okay, I thought you were a coder. Yeah, I'm a coder. That doesn't mean that I want to, do every single thing or like just code 24/7. It's kind of like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything about it, but that's basically the idea. So I want you to know that basically this message I have for you is, don't waste your entire life coding. Code because it's something you like. Do it because you think it's fun. And if there's something else out there that you think is equally fun, then have a healthy life. You don't have to sit at the computer all the time. Because trust me, it's not worth it.